Lily and Mila were excited to move into their new apartment. They had been looking for a place to live together for months, and they finally found a cheap and spacious one-bedroom unit in an old building downtown. They didn't mind the creaky floors, the peeling wallpaper, or the rusty pipes. They were just happy to have their own space and independence. During their initial tour, the kind but strange neighbour from the unit next door, Mrs. Greaves, hinted that the apartment had a lot of character. They shrugged it off. They moved in on October 31st, Halloween night. They decided to skip the parties and the trick-or-treating, and instead have a cosy night in with some pizza, wine, and horror movies. They unpacked their boxes, decorated their living room with some candles and pumpkins, and settled on the couch to watch their first movie. They chose a classic, The Exorcist. They had seen it before, but they still enjoyed the scares and the suspense. They laughed at the cheesy effects, screamed at the jump scares, and commented on the plot twists. They were having a blast. But then, something strange happened. During one of the most intense scenes of the movie, when the possessed girl was levitating on her bed and spewing profanities, the TV suddenly turned off. The room went dark and silent. "Hey, what happened?" Lily asked, reaching for the remote. "I don't know. Maybe a power outage," Mila suggested, looking around. They heard a loud thud from the bedroom. They both jumped and gasped. "What was that?" Mila whispered. "I don't know. Maybe something fell," Lily said nervously. They got up from the couch and walked cautiously towards the bedroom door. They opened it slowly and peeked inside. They saw their boxes scattered on the floor, their clothes thrown out of their suitcases, and their books ripped from their shelves. It looked like someone had ransacked their room. "What the hell?" Lily exclaimed. "Who did this?" Mila asked. They heard another thud from behind them. They turned around and saw the living room door slam shut. They ran towards it and tried to open it, but it was locked. "Let us out!" Lily shouted, banging on the door. "Help! Someone help us!" Mila screamed, looking for a window. They heard a low growl from the TV. They looked at it and saw that it was back on. But instead of showing The Exorcist, it was showing a static image of a pale face with black eyes and a twisted smile. It was staring right at them. "Who are you?" Lily asked, trembling. The face spoke in a distorted voice. "I am the one who lives here. This is my apartment, and you are my guests." The face laughed maniacally as the TV started to flicker. The candles went out one by one. The pumpkins began to rot and ooze. The temperature dropped to freezing. And then they heard a loud knock on the door. "Trick or treat!" The knocking grew louder and more insistent. Lily and Mila backed away from the door, their hearts pounding in their chests. The temperature continued to drop, and their breath became visible in the frigid air. "What do we do?" Mila asked, her voice shaking. "I don't know," Lily replied, her eyes darting around the room for any possible escape. Suddenly, the TV screen went black, and the room was plunged into complete darkness. They could hear the sound of footsteps approaching from the hallway outside their apartment. "Someone's coming," Lily whispered, clutching Mila's arm. The footsteps stopped right outside their door, and they heard the sound of a key turning in the lock. The door creaked open slowly, and a figure stepped into the room. It was Mrs. Greaves, their neighbour. She was holding a candle, and her face was illuminated by its flickering light. "I told you this apartment had a lot of character," she said with a sinister smile. "What's going on?" Mila demanded, her voice rising in panic. "This building has a history," Mrs. Greaves explained. "A dark history. The spirits of those who died here still linger, and they don't take kindly to intruders." "We need to get out of here," Lily said, her voice trembling. "It's too late for that," Mrs. Greaves replied. "Once you've entered, there's no leaving. The spirits have claimed you as their own." The room grew colder, and the shadows seemed to close in around them. The TV flickered back to life, showing the same pale face with black eyes and a twisted smile. "Welcome to your new home," the face said, its voice echoing through the room. Lily and Mila screamed as the room was engulfed in darkness. The last thing they heard was the sound of the door slamming shut, trapping them inside forever. "Let us out!" Lily shouted, banging on the door. "Help! Someone help us!" Mila screamed, looking for a window. They heard a low growl from the TV. They looked at it and saw that it was back on. But instead of showing The Exorcist, it was showing a static image of a pale face with black eyes and a twisted smile. It was staring right at them. "Who are you?" Lily asked, trembling. The face spoke in a distorted voice. "I am the one who lives here. This is my apartment, and you are my guests." The face laughed maniacally as the TV started to flicker. The candles went out one by one. The pumpkins began to rot and ooze. The temperature dropped to freezing. And then they heard a loud knock on the door.
"Trick or treat!"